All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Joe and Todd Show. We are on episode 2, season 2.
Yes, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
I even have a special shirt for episode 2, season 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to expense it. Not really.
Is it orange or red?
I thought it was orange. It's not orange, it's red. And yeah, lights at Dillard's are not always the best. Anyway, today's really fun. It's something I think...
We digress.
We digress, we do. I think there's a fun part of today because it's one of those things I see happen over and over with creatives where we have great ideas, we have, we know what we want to do, we have all this stuff, we want to keep our work covered, we don't want anyone to see it, and it's hard a lot of times to present that to clients, present that to our vendors, helping everyone to know what's going on and what that looks like. Yeah, budget, all those things. Schedule. And yeah, and I think that one of the things we've kind of had to learn is you've really got to have a great plan before all those things come in line. And
I think each project is a little bit unique. So your planning process and your presentation process or technique, whatever, is going to be different for each kind of project. For example, we're going to talk today about some very different projects. One is a historical society
museum exhibit.
Another one is parking garage signage, like completely different projects. Another one is a video concept that we presented to a client. And then the last one is just more of a social event, gathering a baby shower.
That's right, yeah.
So they're all very different concepts, but they're all similar in that there's a creative process to them, and there's timeline, and we have to get buy-in from all the players, the vendors, the client, our employees, our team, and make sure everyone's on the same page before we move too far down the road.
I think in my mind, this is the step after you've kind of had your collaboration time, your brainstorming time, if you will. I don't really like that word, but this is kind of the next step in the process. You're really kind of setting forth your blueprint for what the event's going to look like or what the project's going to look like or the scope or whatever. I think about the museum project. It was just an incredible project for us. I don't think anyone really understood the scope of it. We didn't know, we knew that was an element. It was a client of ours who is a college school. They were celebrating the history of the school, and they wanted to do something that kind of displayed that and showed that.
Right, they kind of had a vision for it, and they shared that with us, and the PR company actually came to us and shared the initial vision with us. And they're like, we need your help to figure this out. And so we just kind of jumped in and started thinking about it and planning and pulling pieces together.
It was really fun. It's a company, Schnocky Turnbow Frank, that we work with a lot, exclusively almost. I mean, practically. We love them. We love their team. We love their people.
Great people.
And I love that process of trying to figure out the story, what we need to tell, what that will look like. And I remember those first days, they're the ones who kind of took the lead in developing that story and deciding, we have a timeline, we have kind of a history, and they kind of were able to put that into a story form. And then we kind of took that and began to present to the client. At that point...
Well, they're intimately and have been intimately involved with the client.
Absolutely.
Since their foundation.
Their beginnings. But, we took that, and I think at that moment, I wasn't sure... We weren't even sure about budget. What's this look like? Does this, I know, my first idea is like, we can do some pull-up displays, pull-up banners, or maybe we could, hang something on the ceiling.
We didn't even have a venue yet.
Right.
We didn't even know where we were going to do it. For a while there, we thought we were going to do it in a storefront or an empty office downtown or something.
Right, and have people come in and always have it, manned and that sort of thing. We ended up working on really kind of that plan. I remember the day that we presented to our client, and it was such a fun moment in the really the beginning stages of that project, and she was so excited about it, and it was the excitement of, here's the story we're going to tell, here's what we're going to do, here's how it's going to look, and then she was really the one who was able to take our vision to the next level. I mean, that's kind of I usually have clients kind of running us in, but that one was like, yeah, let's do this right,
good.
do this well, and
Yeah, she could see our vision for it, I think, and that really inspired her.
Yeah.
To move forward with that. And we actually mocked up a sample exhibit of like the entryway or something, I think, and she really kind of got the vision for it.
And I think that began that process. We ended up developing a book that was really our plan, and I don't remember how. I think it ended up with 150 pages or something.
Like that, yeah.
But we really started with trying to write down that story. At one point, we took an empty room in our office, and once we knew that we had this really large space to us, a couple thousand square feet, we knew we could use. Is that the right size? I just spout out numbers. I don't know what they mean.
I think it's more like 4,000 or 5,000.
Yeah, I thought when I said 2, I don't think that's right. I think it's like 4,500 or something. Anyway, so we took this room in our office and we said, okay, let's pretend this is the room. You're walking in. This is what you see. Let's kind of tell the story around the room, and then let's begin putting things in place. So if we have artifacts, if we have photographs, whatever we have, let's start putting those where they belong. Mm-hmm. And it was really at that moment we kind of realized, we don't have the artifacts we thought we had.
Missing segments that we don't have represented.
Absolutely, and large chunks of things. And so at that point we were able to kind of change the story a little bit, not change the history, but the story we were telling kind of morphed into helping with the artifacts and the photographs that we had. And then once we got that cleaned up pretty well, and I think the next step was we brought the client back to our office and said, "This is what we're thinking."
Yeah. What I think what I really appreciate, I mean, you had the whole thing in your head. You knew exactly what it needed to look like, but communicating that to the client and getting their buy-in on everything and approval was key. And so the way we presented that interim step to them was really important. We ended up renting tables and putting some black tablecloths out and making some neat note cards and everything. Yeah. And it was, even though it was still, you could tell it was a work in progress.
It's a very rough draft.
Yes, we presented it as such, but it was also professionally done in that everything it looked neat and tidy, it looked organized, it looked professional.
We had removed the Post-it notes, hadn't we? I think we removed the Post-it notes.
Yeah, I think we ended up doing some typewritten 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper or something. But.
And so from that, then we moved, and again, this was we had 9 months from the beginning to the install. Yeah. And so that next phase then moved into putting this all in book form. And I think the first book was like 75 pages or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's where we kind of took everything in this room, rewrote the story, kind of talked about the narratives, the sections, the photographs, the artifacts. We used some pictures. We did some designs of some walls, what they would look like, and then gave that to our clients. That was really step 3 in the approval process and that plan process. And they looked at that and they were kind of blown away. I mean, I remember that moment of like, that I think was the first time they really saw this room come to life, because the design of the walls, we were beginning to put that in place, and the use of the photographs, the use of the artifacts, and how that was going to look, how it's going to be displayed. And then of course we just continued to roll. Once they approved that process and made their tweaks and changes, then we could move on to the final step, which was all the photographs, all the stories. That's where we began saying, okay, edit these stories, help us with the content, making sure we're right on. Let's get some people to review it. Let's get the historians in, make sure they're all right. And then that's what we really used to complete the graphic design and take to the vendors. And for us on that, we knew there were some props we needed. There was some things, some costuming we needed just to kind of tell the story better. For example, one of the stories, my favorite story of the college actually, is that they had such an overwhelming response the first days of school. They hadn't ordered enough chairs. They didn't have enough seating. There was really nothing to do, and so students brought their own lawn chairs. And
any kind of chair they could bring, folding chairs, lawn chairs.
Exactly. It was just this picture in my mind. It's like, this is cool. Well, we didn't have any photographs of it. It was just a story that was told, and so we were able to buy a vintage, antique, whatever you call it, lawn chair, and put that in the exhibit and kind of tell that story around it. I think it was a really visual way to do that, but of course we bought it, and I think because we kind of had that plan in place, we knew that's what some of what we needed. Let's talk about the parking garage though. I think that's,
Yeah.
I still can't, that whole thing was so fun to present that to our client and see his expression. I think it was more than he expected in the plan of that. And again, that's been a 2 or 3 versions, drafts to get that to the
Right.
end. But
I mean, the first task we were tasked with was it's a garage that's been there for I don't know how long,
50 years.
decades, and it's just had a multiple iterations of signage in the garage, and just kept adding to it and adding to it, and there's just layer after layer. And I think there were 3 signs on one wall that said level 3.
Yeah,
Like one was
same
painted on
things.
the wall, one was metal screwed to the wall, another one was I don't know paper or plastic or something falling off the wall. And so just we went through and documented every single sign,
Inventory,
the
really.
location,
Yeah.
we just inventoried it all, and then presented that and said, okay, here's what we have currently. And then we kind of, with that, we presented a vision of what it could be, what we could transform it into. And the idea was to really um, make it so that it's branded to the company, represents them well, makes it feel like it's a safe space, even. And so all of that went into developing this book that we presented to the client as a preliminary design and said, this is the direction we want to go. And he's like, wow, yeah, that's it. Let's do it. And so we moved forward. That was kind of launched us off into the next phase of creating signage for every floor of the garage and even some entry points, some feature entry points that um, really communicated their story and made people feel welcome to the hospital and just move forward with it. So
Yeah. I think that was such a cool project. You also mentioned the video earlier too. Video is something that I learned in college. I learned kind of that whole production thing. I have entertainment background, and I kind of know what to do in that. But I think again, helping our client understand what that was going to look like, and it really
they
became
didn't have that experience.
more the production of it, and it was more than a script. It was a story, kind of following that. And our first tap at that was a complete disaster. So
How's
um,
that?
I, we didn't do it well. So it's one of those things where I go back and go, wow, we really messed that up, and I still can't believe we kind of made it happen. But the very first time, I had taken YouTube clips of things I thought would be cool, and got different ideas from different places, and I in my mind, it's like we can be on a Zoom call, and I can pull these up, and they're on the computer, and I'm going to show this clip, and
Right.
I'm going to
This
show this
this was
clip,
at
and
the
this
very
clip.
beginning of the pandemic, so we were
Right.
all still trying to figure out Zoom calls,
Scrambling
and
a little bit.
and we were transitioning from a live event to a video.
Right.
That was a whole
That was a whole
messy thing.
part of itself too. So I then thought, no, 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 we can do this better. I can actually put all these in a program and kind of edit it, make my own video, and then stop and play, almost like a PowerPoint presentation or a Prezi presentation, or whatever that other one is. That's what I was doing it in. And um, we came time to show it, and I couldn't get it to work right. It wasn't working right. And so I thought, that's okay. I can go back because I still have all the other videos pulled up and all these different tabs on my computer. I can show all of them for we had just gone through and watched them. And
That
so
was kind of
I
I remember.
begin playing them, and yeah, I instead of the video itself, we were watching what was happening right after that. And so here's these sophisticated clients. Your face just turned red.
I
Yeah, it's like
remember it. Yeah.
sophisticated clients with, you know, wonderful people, pillars of our society, are suddenly seeing this YouTube clip of this guy coming out of the pool without a shirt on, and yeah, like, no, 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 that's not. It
It's
was
the
the part
video I
before
just
it. It was,
watched.
and it. I kept playing the next one, thinking it's going to get better, before we realized, oh my word, no, I'm watching the end of, yeah. So anyway, that didn't go so well, and so then we kind of had to figure out how to come back and say, okay, we're going to do this again. Let's kind of talk through it. The several good things happen out of that, though. I think they begin to imagine what this could be. They trusted us enough to know we weren't being quite as horrible as they thought we were for a few minutes. But I think they trusted us, and they also um, were intrigued. But they also set some boundaries for us to know. I I want real people that we know. I don't want someone else's people. Some stuff that we kind of thought might work to use a video that they filmed somewhere else. They don't want a part of that. And I also think it helped set the budget out of that mess. It set the budget much clearer than we had it defined. It set the quality. It set the message much clearer when they came back a little bit like we failed to communicate or we need to make this right. And so at that point, we were able to kind of come back. We did again a lot of written stuff to them, a lot of kind of a plan. What's all written out. This is what we're thinking. This is where this piece goes, and how we're going to do it. And then we're able to present that. All right, the last thing I want to talk about is the baby shower. You mentioned it earlier,
Yeah.
and I think it's kind of a fun story. We have one of our favorite clients, actually a listener, and
Privileged to have her as a
yes,
listener.
we love that she listens to our podcast. She is a visionary. She's a creative. She's generous. She's thoughtful. Probably the most generous person I know. And she also tends to overcommit a little bit sometimes. Say yes. She says yes very freely. And she's kind of always getting in situations where she's got to figure out plan B here. This was one of the ones where someone had asked, we host a baby shower in your home? And she's like, oh, absolutely, of course. And she was happy to do it. And then her timing of things came where I think she had to travel and other stuff going on, and realized she couldn't really help in pulling all the details together. And so really what we did was we just listened to the vision of the host and the hostess, and actually the mom, amazing people, amazing leaders in our community, and we met with them over lunch and listened to their vision and kind of listened to, okay, what all you have, where do you have, what vendors are you using? Oh yeah, we know them, we don't know them, let's figure this out together. And I remember you just writing lots of notes, and after that meeting with him, we were able to kind of go back and put a plan into place. So this is what was happening, and then we could look at that, evaluate what are we missing. So, for example, I know a lot of times in her home, when we have things in her home, she loves specialty cocktail napkins or beverage napkins, and so that was an easy thing to go in and get printed. You go to have that. That was just a no-brainer. We had some questions about the decor and how that was going to be set up and what the timing of it was, and there was some miscommunication about how long that's going to take and when it goes in and all that. And so we were able to kind of fix all that by writing out the plan, and again have a very successful, fun baby shower. It was one of the most beautiful occasions I've been a part of on the outside, but it was a great event. But I think
I think we also set expectations with that plan. I think that's a lot of what we're talking about is just setting expectations so everyone knows what to expect when you're actually get to the execution of the event.
The other one I think we can probably talk about is the flash floral decor for International Women's Day.
Yeah.
And again, incredible ideas. Some creative people were working on the project. We were kind of pulled in, at kind of the last hour. And really what we were able to do is kind of bring everybody together. And that plan, making that plan, that creative plan of this is how it's all going to happen. And in my mind, it's almost like news reporting of who, what, when, where. Mm-hmm. And, I know we put on the top of the page, this is the event, this is the time, the date. This is the colors. This is, some stuff that some of the vendors had not really picked up on.
Really got everybody on the same page.
Absolutely. And in the process discovered we had some license or not permitting that need to be done, and some other stuff that we were able to make happen because, again, that creative plan. So I know I just think it's hard sometimes for us as creatives to even use the word plan. That's almost an oxymoron, that creative plan, But I know what I've learned through the years is the more I can write it down, get it out there, put it on paper, draw it, or have someone else draw it, bring elements together, show stuff, samples, the better we are in the end, because the client has an understanding what it's going to be, what it's going to cost, how it's going to set up, and then all of our vendors know what their part is. And I think that's definitely the best parts of the creative plan. Again, it's a hard thing for us to do as creatives, but I think it pays off in the end.
One of my favorite quotes from my mother-in-law is, "Plans are made to be changed."
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
Even though you make a plan and everyone's on the same page, at the point you have to change the plan, at least everyone knows that we're changing plans. It was this, but now we're doing this.
We actually had, I'm thinking through the story because we didn't talk through this, but I love this story. Had a time where I actually had a client sign off on every page and every plan of this is what it's going to look like and this is what it's going to do. And so they knew without a question, this is what's going to happen. And I could go back and point that out. Every detail. Yeah. And there was a lot of creatives involved in that. Yeah. And we were ready for we were trying to avoid surprises. That was really the deal. There was a couple of creatives in there that loved surprises. And we were trying to communicate there's no room for surprises. And so we kind of had every page, every element people signed off on. This is what we're doing. This is expectation. This is what we're ordering. This is what we're providing. And even the vendors looking at that and going, okay, we know.
High profile event with some important people in the room. Yeah. And to have any kind of surprise that wasn't previously approved was
you're going to get tackled by security.
It's going to be a fail.
Yeah, so. Exactly. And I think that was a great lesson to me of that, really being that detailed and that planned ahead, that we are all on the same page. And I think really to know that's what this is about. So again, presenting it to the client, helping them have that buy-in is so important. So this has been fun, but I think we're out of time. I mean, I
think we covered it.
It's been a crazy podcast, crazy subject for me, because I think planning is hard, but I love these examples, and I think we've learned so much from them. If you have questions about plans and how we've done those, how we've set those things into motion, we don't have a template. We don't have questions we ask. We tried that several times, and that doesn't work for our system.
Every event is different.
Everything we do is different. Every project's different. And so because we're in the world of being creative, we really don't want the next event to look like the last event, or the next museum exhibit to look like the last museum exhibit, or the next video to look like the last video. And I think for us, that's been really helpful. But we
could share some examples, though.
We could. And we would love to visit about that. Email us. I'm Joe at rumbledrum.com.
And I'm Todd at rumbledrum.com.
We would love to hop on a call and talk through that, help you with that, and how you can make it happen, work on ideas together, think through some stuff. So it means the world to us when you like our Facebook page and Instagram, follow us on Instagram. That really means the world to us. Also, writing reviews. It just is really helpful to write reviews even on Google or on Facebook, on YouTube, writing notes, and then also where you listen to podcasts. Rating us is a very valuable tool to us. So wherever you listen to podcasts, be sure and subscribe to us, rate us, help us do better in what we're doing. That's really super. We're feedback culture in our company, and we really want that feedback. This has been great. Next week is something crazy.
Brainstorming.
Hate that word. Hate that word.
We're not going to call it brainstorming, though. We're going to call it something else, right?
I hope so. So we're looking forward to that. We hope you tune in with us again. Looking forward to next week and
look forward to seeing you guys
together.
soon.
Have a great week.
Take care.